In this lecture, we are going to start writing equations from different items. For example 1, we're going to write the equation from a table. We're also going to start talking about the explicit rule. The explicit rule looks something like this. F of x equals delta x plus f of 0. Your delta x is the slope, and your f of 0 is the output of 0. So let's take a look at this first one. The output of 0 is 2. Now to find my slope, I have to find the change in y. So what happens from 2 to 5, 5 to 8, 8 to 11, and 11 to 14? Well, it adds by 3. So now if I plug those two items into my function, it's going to be f of x equals delta, which is 3x, plus my f of 0, which is 2. Next, we need to write the explicit rule for the scenario. Chloe decides to save some more money. She already has $100 and has to save $50 per week. So we start at 100. So that would be our 0, our f of 0. And then $50 per week would be our slope. So my function is going to be f of x equals 50x plus 100. For question 3, we need to write the rule for the graph that passes through 5, negative 4 with a slope of 1/3. There's a couple ways you could do this, but the easiest is just going to be to make a table. Now, I'm going to take this point, 5, 4, and I'm going to put it into my graph. So if this is 0, I want 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So 5, negative 4. Now, my slope is 1/3. So my delta is 1/3. Now here's the tricky part. The slope works if you go down, but we are going to work backwards. So instead of adding 1/3, we're going to subtract 1/3 because we have to go backwards. So let's fill this all in. Negative 4 minus 1/3 is negative 4 1/3. And I'm going to keep going all the way up. So I have negative 4 2/3, negative 5, negative 5 2/3, I'm sorry, 1/3. Finally, negative 5 2/3. So I need to find my f of 0, which is going to be negative 5 2/3. And then my slope is going to be 1/3. So now my function is f of x equals my slope x, and then my f of 0. For question 4, we need to write the equation from a graph. So again, I need to find my y-intercept. Well, this is my y-intercept at negative 4. Now I need to find my slope. So I see that I have a point here and a point here. So remember, my slope is rise over run. So I go up 1 and over 2. So my slope is 1/2. So my function is going to be f of x equals my slope x and then my y-intercept. For question 5 and question 6, we have what is called the recursive rule. So what it looks like is we have f of x equals, then right here we have f of 0, if x equals 0. Then we have f of x minus 1 plus my delta if x is greater than 0. The only thing that you guys need to worry about is f of 0 and delta. Everything else in blue stays the exact same. So, let's take a look at the table. My f of 0 is 2. Now remember to find my delta, in other words my slope. I need to add 3 to all of my outputs. So, let's write the recursive function for this one. It's going to be f of x. I'm just going to write down everything that stays the same. The stuff I'm writing down will always be the same. Now, the stuff I have in red is the only thing that changes. So I have to put my 2 here because that's what I'm starting with. Then I need to put my delta, which is going to be plus 3. Again, the only thing that changes is the stuff in red on question 5. Now let's look at question 6. Write the recursive rule for the scenario. Chloe decides to save some more money. She already has $100, which is what she started with, and she saves $50 per week. So I'm going to write down everything that stays the same. So now, she already has $100. So that $100 is where I'm going to start at. And then she saves $50 per week, so that's going to be my slope. So if you remember, back in question 4, we were given the graph, and we had to find the function. Now, in question 7, we are given the function and we need to graph it. So look at the function. This looks a lot like f of x equals my slope x plus my f of 0, or my y-intercept. So what's my y-intercept? My y-intercept is -5, and my slope is 3/4. So I'm going to graph my y-intercept first. That's -5. So if I start at the origin, I go down 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is my y-intercept. Now to find my slope, I'm going to start at the y-intercept that I just graphed, right here. And my slope is 3/4. So now I go up 3 and over 4. So now I can draw my line, and that is the graph of that function. The points that I will look for is the red and purple dots. I'm okay if the orange line is a little wobbly, but those points, the red and the purple, have to be exactly where they are. Now, we have already discussed if it looks like y equals slope x and then the y-intercept. Now, question B looks a little bit different. We need to get the y by itself. So if you remember solving equations, getting the y by itself. So I'm going to start by subtracting 2x on both sides. 2x's cancel. So I have 3y equals -2x plus 12. Now how do I get that y by itself? That's a -3 times y, so I divide. I'm going to divide everything by -3. So now my final equation is going to be y equals, now negative 2 divided by negative 3 is a positive 2/3 x, and then 12 divided by negative 3 is a negative 4. So now, this is my y-intercept, is negative 4, and my slope is 2/3. So if I go up here to graph it, my y-intercept is negative 4, and my slope is going to be 2/3, so I start here and go up 2, and then over 3. So this is the graph of the equation.